Hello there fellow NPCs, I'm Scythe, and today we're getting back into Seeds of Chaos. In the last episode we were talking to both Arcil and White Scar here, and we concluded, quite obviously so, that they are not friends. We knew that part already, but they are actually very antagonistic towards each other, and it's just a matter of time before they slit each other's throats, it would seem. So we will pretty much have to choose who we are aligning ourselves with. So we will see how that goes. But before we do any of that, I want to go over here to the throne room and see if there is anything more fun here in the dungeon delving. So let's do that, shall we? Let's go. Show event, dungeon delving. Oh, it's with Uriel. Okay. Rowan leaned forward, glazed eyes staring down at his desk. Luriel was telling him about some kind of census initiative for the castle, but Rowan was too far gone to process a word. I was thinking, since the orcs have such a low rate of response to the questionnaire, perhaps we could find some kind of incentive to tie to the response. I must confess that my experience in interacting with the orcs is lacking, and I would prefer to keep it that way. She paced back and forth in front of his desk, clutching a notepad. So, perhaps you might have some kind of idea on how we can bring response rate up, sir. Huh? Rowan groaned and raised his head to look at her. Rowan, you're practically drooping in your chair. I hadn't even noticed something was wrong. I'm terrible. She rushed over to his side, frantically looking him over for some sign of harm. Her prior inattention had flipped into a disheveled worry. Were you wounded recently in the field? Is there something I could bring you? And what is up? I don't think something is wrong with how I placed the headset. I think this might be better. It's a loud echo from myself. Not feedback loop, just I can hear myself talk really loudly. Nothing too serious. I appreciate your concern though. He forced a weak smile. I'm just a bit overwhelmed is all. It's been such a long week. And that the talk of service and whatnot just took my last bit of fire. I might surprise you to hear, but my position is a bit stressful. Oh, why of course. I could only imagine. Please, allow me please to bring you something to drink. It's the last I can do, sir. Accept her help. Sure, what could possibly go wrong? She scurried off to pick up a vase full of water and turned with a... What? With a full cup. She went down to her knees and held it up to him, more slave-like than secretarial. Wait. Why did she bring me a vase filled with flower water? Is that an elf thing? Rowan nodded and grabbed the glass. You don't have to drop everything just because I'm not in my best shape. Being stuck filing papers in a dark castle in the barren north probably wasn't how you planned your life would go. Perhaps it wasn't my plan. What would have become of my life in Aelan? Only the weeping goddess may mourn for. The reassuring smile she offered him could have warmed the heart of a demon. Truth be told, working beneath you has proven most invigorating. I never tackled a task as complex as assisting in running such a stronghold. Among the band of the 14 winds, there was often little work to do between jobs. It could get dreadfully dull. Rowan leaned back in his chair. The conversation and the drink were doing wonders for his energy already. Okay, said it was normal spring water it seems, or water of some kind. Perhaps all he needed was a chance to take his mind off his troubles. You didn't take the time to develop any hobbies? Not on the road. At most the odd book. Her eyes darted to the side. Without some task to do, or some way I can be of use to someone, I start to feel like a pointless mouth to feed. Just let me be useful, and I'll be content. I'm sorry if that makes me rather boring, though. As always, there was a mountain of reports, documents, and requests covering Rowan's desk, far beyond what any man could handle by himself in a single day. It made him chuckle darkly into his hands. Well, it's good that one of us at least can find a way to enjoy paperwork. She breathed inwards. Then she shot him a timid glance from behind her bangs. Rowan couldn't help but notice she had brought her arms closer to her chest, making her meager bosom push up. Of course she did. My lord, perhaps there are other ways that could be helpful too. Pertaining to your stress, I mean. Rowan's face remained stone. She'd even started to bat her eyelashes, as if her meaning wasn't already clear. Okay, so no actual dungeon delving, I'm assuming. I told you before that you don't need to pay for my protection with sex, right? Were you about to suggest something of that sort? She let out a soft giggle. Well, that's not exactly what I meant. Perhaps. There is a game we could play together. You could say that I had somehow been a disobedient secretary, and you were bringing me down to the dungeon to give me a punishment. I thought there were actually going to be dungeons and shit in this place, with the orcs perhaps, but no. Why was I expecting dungeons in a fantasy game? But this is just a complete rip-off from the movie Secretary. God damn it. You've been a model of diligence and respect, dude, that's me. I am just as dense. Yes, but we would be playing pretend. You'd say I was a bad girl and in need of punishment. And of course, I would never dream of contradicting my protector. She leaned slightly forward, without breaking her kneeling posture. The back of her hand brushed against the leg of his pants. It was so soft to touch, he could barely feel it through the material. What kind of punishment are you suggesting? Yeah, you know, perhaps bindings, or even a spanking. It would be your place to choose, not mine. Just so long as what you've selected would help you release your stress on me. At that he had to chuckle. Rowan had lived in Bloodmead long enough by now to know what she was trying to imply. That's what you're talking about, huh? You take me for Ysera or Andras? Her eyes widened. No, of course not. I must have overstepped. Please forgive me. I'm so stupid. Rowan just shook his head. Relax, Leoriel. I know you didn't mean to insult me, though it is a rather daring to suggest something so intense after having already seen me so reluctant about any kind of sexual contact. I'm sorry for that too. Her head drooped lower. She was like a puppet whose strings had been cut. I thought that maybe I'd ask you at a bad time. I'm so stupid. Wait. Just wait a second. Let me think. Rowan settled back in his chair with a frown. He hadn't anticipated how hard she seemed to take it when he even suggested he would say no to her offer. Surely, if this were just a way of helping de-stress, she would have been more ablaze about it. Then who was to say that was the real rationale? Something that struck him from the day that she asked for his protection was how quick she was to offer sexual service to him. At the time, he had merely imagined it just as an attempt to sway him into agreement. The rest of her behavior since put it in a whole new context. Her cheeks instantly went a shade redder. Is both an acceptable answer, sir? Rowan nearly laughed. He was getting much better at reading this girl. With her admission, it brought him right to the edge of an answer to her offer. Here's the thing. I am very, very vanilla. I do not enjoy dumb sub-relationships at all. That is not me. I cannot put myself into that mindset. No. It is. Fortunately, it's not one of those old-style Java games where you actually have to do stuff. It's just going to happen. It's a visual novel, I mean. But no. I thought we were actually going to do dungeons and shit. Maybe something sexy could have happened then. I wouldn't have minded that. But I don't want to do this. Finally, after making her wait for longer than he planned to, he started to shake his head. I think if I wasn't ready for anything a bit more intimate before, I don't think making the activity any kinkier is going to change my answer. Oh. Her head lowered slightly. I'm married. You're not the type of partner I want. I'm not ready. Whoo. That is extremely hypocritical, but are we gonna tell her, no, you suck? Or are we gonna say, I'm not ready? Well, technically, I am not ready. The thing is, I might never get ready. Not for the stuff she's into. Sure. I wasn't ready then, and I still don't think I'm ready now. He placed a warm protective hand on her shoulder. She sighed and leaned into that merciful touch. I hope this will make you think less of me, Luriel. I really do value your service. Oh, Rowan. She looked up at him with a weak smile, but her eyes were round and lacked the sadness of even moments before. Working for you has given me a purpose I haven't felt in a long time. And with you, I know that I am finally safe. That's what matters to me. Good. Whew. But it does seem like Ysera is correct. That she is gonna leave me at some point because I simply won't touch her, you know? It does feel like that is the way things are going to go. Now, come back up front and talk to me about the questionnaire again. I think this little conversation brought out a bit more energy. Yeah, see, that's what I was thinking. If we can get the orcs to do some fighting, we can fill out the questionnaire. Damn it! Right away, sir. Luriel flew back to her feet with a renewed energy and scrambled back to the other side of the desk. Soon, she was back to laying out the details and challenges of the questionnaire. This time, Rowan was actually listening. Yeah. What happened? Fool around with Luriel. Just that. Fool around. Okay. Yeah, we can talk to Heartsong. Hehehe. Let's go with that. Oh, in the forest. I guess we are sleeping, but why wouldn't we do that? It might have been too complicated to do that in my bedroom, because it doesn't really have a contact with me, but White Scar does. It was dark and cold in this part of the Netherworld, foreboding in a way that the half-girl had never felt in the well-trod trails of her father's hunting grounds. Even in Queen's Palace, with its strange room and even stranger people, did not leave this kind of pit in her stomach. Why was it so cold? The half-girl crept forward, mindful of her own frailty. There were many things that dwelt within the Netherworld that even a fae should fear. Dream beasts and dark pits of concentrated malice, snarling faces the congealed matter of mortal nightmares, made terrifyingly real by their presence in the dream realm. But this was her home, her birthright, and the half-girl was tired of hiding from it. She crept forward on the hands and knees, sniffing at the air for the scent of a grove nearby. There, a scent of feeling, a taste of memory. The half-girl leapt into the underbrush. She emerged, wide-eyed to an alien sight, a mortal beehive built from hacked wood and straw instead of wax. She gazed in wonderment at the construction, baffled as to its making. There were dozens of them. The half-girl looked around eagerly for the owner of the dream, secretly hoping it was a youngling like herself. Success! There, behind that tall pile of hacked wood, a small boy, nearly invisible inside a small nook between the wall and the pile. He was peeking out from his hiding place. The half-girl hurried to reach him. She smiled at him as she crouched down behind him, heart pumping out of her chest at the prospect of talking to someone new. Hi, what's your name? The boy glanced over at her, a look of incredulity on his face. Uncomfortably, with awkward silence, the half-girl goaded him further. Did you want to play? I don't know any human games, but I'm waiting. What are you waiting for? She gave him a toothy smile. But the boy was not smiling. His lips quivered. Shh! They'll hear us! Who? Just then a woman emerged from one of the huts, carrying a baby in her arms. Her soft smile turned her to horror as she saw a man stagger from the tree line. Oh, Goddess Eric, what's happened to you? The man clutched his gut, where a red stain was slowly spreading. He grimaced as he limped towards the woman. Orcs! Orcs! Take the children in! Is this my memory then? Well, I mean, yeah, it most likely is. But are we reliving this thing from her point of view now? Without warning, a half a dozen orcs emerged from the fog beyond the dream, apparating as if born solely from the boy's mind. He cringed and looked away. The lead orc, a towering horned creature with red eyes and gaping maw, lifted a rusty sword high into the air. The doom of it paused for a long moment, as if a snapshot taken in time. Then it dropped, bisecting Eric nearly in two at the shoulder. Blood fountained into the air. The woman screamed. The orcs turned to her, and one of the other orcs asked the leader, in a voice like a snarling beast. What about her? Too loud. Shut her up. The half-girl blanched, her mind racing as she alternated between wanting to look away and being unable to tear her gaze from the ghastly scene. The boy, obviously used to the outcome of this dream, huddled deep into himself, squeezing his eyes shut and trying but failing to ignore the sounds that echoed eternally in his head. Daddy! Daddy! The half-girl, shaken, gently put her hand upon the boy's shoulder. Uncertain what to do, she simply squeezed his shoulder to comfort him. It's okay. Don't cry. Please don't cry. I'm right here with you. What? Oh no! Hi, Uncle! What are you doing here? The dream stopped. The world came to a halt. Show yourself this instant. Trembling, the half-girl stepped out from her hiding place next to the boy and faced her father. Oh. Oh, right! It's... they are father and daughter. For some reason I thought it was a niece and... yeah, that. Uncle, that's the name. She looked down at her feet, only now realizing that a trail of tears were rolling down her face. I was just... Foolish girl, have I not warned you about wandering off? Stupid! Reckless! A mortal's dream grove is no place for a child. You risk your very soul walking into it. The half-girl shook like a leaf. It terrified her, in a way that, up till now, nothing else could. I didn't mean to, I just wanted to make a friend. The white wolf let out a contemptuous snarl. The annoying sobbing boy completely turned and stalked away. Come, now! The half-girl hesitated, looking down at the poor boy. She kneeled and hugged him, holding him close for a long moment. You're not alone. Her voice seemed to comfort him, and his ragged breathing slowed a little. Now, girl! Jerked back to the present, the half-girl stood and trotted after him, leaving the boy behind to his memory. She followed in the wake of the wolf's stalking form, all but running after him in a bid to keep up. Father, please, I didn't mean to... Not a word, you're done enough! You've done enough. A protest died in her throat. Are you a squalling babe? Must I strap you to my back and carry you till you're first flowering? What does that mean? I don't know what that means. I have warned you repeatedly, and yet you still do not listen. Arrogant. Selfish. I just wanted to know what they're like. And did witnessing that butchery humble you? Do you feel wiser having seen what they do to each other? They're not all like that. The wolf stopped, turning around in a slow circle. He loomed over her, his teeth pulling back in barely repressed rage. Mortals are greedy little moths, as short-sighted as they are short-lived. Uncounted millennia and untold generations of experience. What have they learned? How to best kill one another. How to dominate and destroy. You seek their affection, they will devour you, my cub. Tears welled up in her eyes again. She hated it when it got this way. Do not tempt him with tears. You are lucky I arrived when I did. Mortals are dangerous. They are not to be trusted. Well, that's kind of hypocritical of you to say, considering that you are a big, strong guy who is raring to kill shit that gets in your way, like an innocent bedroom, you know? A feeling of hot, burning betrayal rose up in her chest. Words she had never dared to speak before bubbled up in anger. Is that why you don't trust me, father? Because I'm like them? Oh, she's half human, half fae. Ooh! Whitescar's face froze. His expression twisted into something the half-girl knew was not anger, but looked very much like it. When he finally spoke, his voice was deathly calm. Come, your lessons wait. Back again, in the same grove she had frolicked in since she was a kid. Once those woods had felt like an endless playground, always with new thickets and hiding places to explore. But now her father's hunting ground seemed small, stifling, sterile. No dreamers came to these tamed woods. Those who did not stay long. Her father made sure of that. He patted the smooth stone and let out a grunt, a command to sit. She solemnly did as she was told, staring wistfully into the direction of the boy she had left behind, wondering what had become of him, where he was in the mortal world. She hoped he'd feel less sad soon. I will jog your memory, remind you who you are. He lifted that old femur bone, cradling it in his arms like a child. It was his most prized possession, the only thing the half-girl was forbidden to touch. He pointed at the glowing runes etched in circles around it, eyes alight with a fervent ardor. I don't know what that word is. Fae. Fated, in the old tongue. That is what Saul named us when he found us, squirming in the dirt of our dead world. Oh, so you're not even from this world, sort of. We are fated to suffer for the mistakes of our past. Even mighty Saul cannot absolve us of all of it. His long claw jabbed on another rune. Dreams, memory, our home and our ken. You are a keeper, a guardian, witness and shaper of both. Witness and shaper of both. The power we wield upon the mortal realm is not to be trifled with, nor used on a whim. The claw pointed again, insistently this time. Laru, balance, the delicate cycle that maintains our world, that which all fae strive for, in thought and in action. It is not enough to simply wield power, that is a child's notion of strength. We maintain the Laru of nature, that life might flourish as intended. We do not use it for profit or petty indulgences. I know these lessons, father. You hear words, but you do not listen. In our hubris, we once thought we could control the world, and look where it got us. Do you not understand our place, girl? To be fae is not a mark of superiority, but obligation. We are not meant to meddle with the realm of mortals. To do so invites disaster. I just wanted to make a friend. Why? I'm sorry, father. I just wanted to make a friend. That's sweet. You do not even comprehend the word. Companionship is a luxury. It does not take precedence over duty. If your friend asks you to break a word, betray your beliefs, will you do it for them? A real friend wouldn't do that. Then you overestimate your judge of character, cub. That boy you met, hatred has rooted in him like a strangling wine. Soon enough he will seek vengeance for his pain. You trust too easily, and you will be harmed by it. Whitescar set down his sacred bone with soft reverence, whispering a silent prayer as he did so. Your obsession with the mortal plane is dangerous, avaricious. You are fae. The netherworld is your birthright. It is the only place where you belong. It is the only life you need. Then why can't I leave your hunting grounds? I'm not fae, I'm human. I hate it here, I want to see the mortal plane. What did he say though? It's your birthright, the only place where you belong. It is the only life you need. Then why can't I leave your hunting grounds? A strange look came upon her father's face, the kind a rabbit would wear when it had spotted a creeping fox. Oh, he's the rabbit in this case. It is not safe for you out there, my cub. You are too frail, tender-hearted. Wild fae can be pitiless. But aren't we wild fae? And you are my cub. It is my duty to protect you until the day you can protect yourself. But shouldn't I at least learn how to dreamwalk? No, you are not ready. But the other fae? I said no! Father, you're scaring me! Whitescar paused. His large hands were shaking. His eyes trembled madly in their sockets. Misguided. Mistaken. You are my cub. I'm not a threat. His spine went rigid. His eyes bursted with light. His jaw cranked open as if to scream, but no sound came out. Then the seizing began. Oh! Father! Father! No! No, not again! He was a white mountain racked by earthquakes. His body crumbled in on itself, drew back, then crumbled again, helpless. The half-girl could do little but hold her tiny hands against his shoulder and try and hold him back. His eyes lost all color, becoming portals of light that yawned into some unspeakable place. His mouth snapped open and closed so tightly she was scared he'd bite his tongue off. Shit, he's having a seizure? What for? Why? How? Her father tried to form words, but it was incoherent gurgling. His face twitched, forming half expressions and shadows of emotions before disappearing once more into the maelstrom. Father! Father! But no matter how many times she said it, he did not reply. Finally, after minutes of wild flailing, he slumped to the ground, falling into a torpor. The half-girl could do little but stroke his face and fetch a bit of water to clean the urine from his fur. After long, fearful minutes of loneliness, his eyes fluttered open, and he looked at her with groggy eyes. Am I back? She threw her arms around him, tears wetting his chest. He put his heavy paw upon her back. Peace, my cub. It was a blessing. Did you have another vision? Father didn't like to talk about his episodes, at least not with her. The first time it had happened, she had screamed his name, beat upon his chest and torn at his whiskers. Later, he scolded her for her immaturity. But for once, an overawed look came across his face. He actually smiled. I saw a stirring serpent, bathed in moonlight in memory, our stepfather, coiling about the gloam of mound where we usually feast and revel. I saw 7 stars in the sky above, one gleaming greater than the rest, but the dimmest one fell from the sky and dropped upon my nose. I saw a wall between 2 worlds, but it shattered like porcelain when I put my hands against it, and another put their hand against mine. A soft, dreamlike smile stretched madly across his face. Jaws of a dragon's mouth closed upon its eternal jaw. A yellow eye peeked open, seeing for once only the one place instead of 2. He pulled her close, holding her tight with a joyous, almost manic energy. A prophecy, child. An end to our suffering. You've had these before, father. Whitescar shook his head back and forth. She worried at the strength of his grip. Hints, innuendo, nothing so clear as this. You need to rest. There is no time. He pushed the half-girl off him, standing up on unsteady legs. Every minute lost is another soul condemned. I must away to the queen, inform her of what I have witnessed. She always says the same thing, father. We're supposed to be patient. Await Saul's return. This time she will listen. He took hold of his cherished femur bone and began to feverishly carve. New layers, a 7th star. The half-girl didn't know that the last time her father had slept. The only time he dreamed was when he actively sought out Saul. Her heart sank even as she watched him finish his work, new rooms joining the others in the spiral down the bone. Does this mean you're leaving again? Only for a time I come, only to seek the Queen's wisdom. He set aside the femur bone and sniffed at the air, possessed of an ardent fervor he hadn't borne since his last vision. The dreamer wants to awaken, and he has chosen me as his instrument. Oh no! He's a zealot! Oh no! I cannot fail him. The wolf leapt into the underbrush, disappearing like the wind. It was as if he had forgotten that she was even there. The half-girl looked down at her bare feet, long-nailed toes resting on the bare earth. She was alone again. Oh, and now we show up. It took some time, but we got here eventually. Rowan had been aware for some time he had been dreaming. He looked on from a distance as the young girl sat alone on the grass, sniffling. This is your memory of Whitescar when you were a child? Yes, so. Why are you showing me this? Heartsong gestured towards the brush where Whitescar had disappeared into. Because that is the clearest vision of father that I can give you. The thing that makes him... him. I know you've been talking to him, I just wanted to maybe help you understand better. There is a deep anger in him. He is fanatical about Saul. Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. He loves you dearly, too dearly. Not convinced of that, unfortunately. There is a deep anger in him, yeah, regarding mortals. But he is, I think this is the one I'm going to go with. Of course, he is our god. Why wouldn't he be? You don't seem to believe in soul salvation nearly half as much as he does. Heartsong played with her fingers. Father is devout. I've met living saints less devout than him. Can you blame him though? Saul has given him visions all of his current life. Words of prophecy meant to save our people. I don't know. Why did Saul save us? People he had no connection to. And why was it incomplete? Why do we need to rescue him? Maybe I'm just not wise enough to understand these things. Father means well. He cares about our people, about this world. But always in abstractions. Even you? Heartsong did not answer, but her downcast expression said everything. If he knew I was helping you, if he knew we were even speaking to one another. What am I doing, Rowan? Why am I defying him like this? Because in your heart you know he's wrong. Ooh, that's harsh. Because you're trying to help him in spite of himself. Because you're tired of feeling helpless. Ooh. Are we going with you need to be strong or you want to help your father? I think this one, honestly. You know how stubborn your father is. For all of his admirable traits, he is remarkably close-minded. Just because he's doing the right thing doesn't mean he's doing it the right way. You shouldn't feel ashamed about doing everything in your power to help him, even if he doesn't think you're capable. But why doesn't he think I'm capable? Because you haven't proved it to him yet. Because he doesn't recognize your potential. You are his blind spot, but that doesn't mean you can't help him from the shadows. Then what should I do, Rowan? Rowan sighed. The Fae was scared of her father. That much was clear. He wouldn't do to push her to that decision till he had more time to convince her. For now, keep helping me as you are. The more informed I am about your father and his intentions, the better prepared we'll be to act. The Fae nodded earnestly, and Rowan gifted her a smile. You've done well, Heartsong. She blushed, turning her face away from him bashfully. The move was innocently charming. Move a little closer to her. Ooh. Ooh. Thing is, Whitescar is gonna demolish me if he finds out where I'm doing something to her. He is scary. Those faces are not to be trifled with, you know. They are terrifying. If I might make a small request. We should keep our discussions a secret for now. A time may come when your father might learn of our meetings, but I'd rather we control the when and why. She nodded solemnly. He wouldn't understand, but that doesn't mean what we're doing is wrong. Thank you for trusting me, Rowan, even if I don't really trust myself yet. You should, Heartsong. You have a good head on your shoulders. She blushed and glanced away, nonplussed by his compliment. We'll talk more about your father soon, Heartsong. I think I'm getting a better idea of how I might be able to handle this situation. Really? But I'll need your help in the interim. She nodded eagerly, ecstatic at the thought that she was already working on a solution. Rowan closed his eyes and willed himself to wake up. The last thing he saw before the darkness took him was her shy smile and golden irises, watching him. Yeah, that's interesting. What else can we see here? We can still visit Heartsong. Huh, interesting. Well, yeah. I guess we get to learn more and more about White Scar if we continue to meet up with Heartsong. But at the same time, the more we do so, the more likely one of these two idiots are going to come into the dream and say hello, basically. So yeah, that will be it for today's episode. Thank you guys for watching. And also, if you want to help me out, you can do so by clicking the link down in the description. And I will be seeing you guys in the next one. Goodbye, everyone.